Hi, so what I have here are three power banks, two wireless ones and an old one that I've had for about 6 years. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some buying tips based on my experience of having this for 5 to 6 years, and also give you a little comparison between this particular one that I'm going to keep and this particular one that I'm returning. So let me get started here. First with the power button. So you'll notice here, this particular one, the power button sticks out a little bit. And that's actually bad, because if you have this in your purse or backpack, it's going to be inadvertently pushed. And especially with this has a flashlight. So when you push it, what's going to happen is it's going to turn on and waste a lot of energy, possibly use the entire power bank. So you'll notice here in my trusty old one, this is actually inset. The button's inset, so it's going to be harder to inadvertently push on and off. So, that's the first tip, is make sure the power button is inset instead of outset. And you'll notice even this particular one, it's a little bit better, but it sticks out a little bit. So, the second tip I want to give is that if you plan on buying these wireless ones that does the wireless charging, make sure that it has a rubbery feel to it. So this is non-slip and grippy, while this here is just the plastic and it's slippery. And the reason why I mention that is, if you're charging your phone here, this actually does slip off. So over time, especially with these iPhones, they're so slippery that they eventually, slip off like that. Whereas this particular one is more grippy. And, even when I tilt it, it grips. So get a grippy one instead of this particular one. So I was trying to use this overnight, charging this, and the phone would just eventually always slip off. It might be half a millimeter, every couple of seconds, but eventually it would like slip off like that. So, just keep that in mind. Second tip is to get a grippy one. Now, the third tip is that if for these, they have the solar panels. Now, rarely will you actually use the solar panels unless it's for a very emergency situation where you're like remotely stuck in a particular place, because these are going to recharge very slowly. So unless you plan on being lost in a national forest or something like that, I'm not sure these matter all that much, but hey, it's a peace of mind. Maybe one day you will venture out and, get lost in a national forest, and these will come in handy. But also, one of the teases that it has is that you can hang this off of your backpack and it's going to recharge. Well, it's not going to be like that. These charges really, really, really slowly. So, when you do hang it off your backpack, this particular one is plastic, so it's liable to break off pretty easily if you do hang it off. This is also plastic, so if you do buy something, make sure this is metal and that the casing it's connected to is metal. Otherwise, it's just going to break off and you're just going to lose this, hanging off your backpack. Now, the other tip is that both of these recharge both by USB, micro USB, and USB-C. So if you're into that, look for that. Make sure that it charges using both. Now this particular one also charges using both the USB and USB-C and micro USB, whereas my old trusty one, only charges using the micro USB. Thirdly, and this is probably the most important, is this does fast charging. So this has a port, a USB port that does 3 amps. And then these are 2.1 amps. So this is fast charging here, which is basically a 20 watt charging. And these are like 10 watts, or what do you call it? 3 amps, 2.1 amp, 2.1 amp. And then this one does not have fast charging. So that's the fourth tip. Make sure it has fast charging. because these are both 2.1 amps, 2.1 amps. And then, you know, the fifth tip is, you know, just make sure you get a one that is, I guess, you know, charging 3 simultaneous, or, you know, if you only need 2 simultaneous, but, you know, get at least 2. So this particular one, or both of these, charges 3 devices at a time. They count the wireless charging. So if I had a wireless device and I was charging 2 other phones here, that's 3 items. Same with this, if I was wireless charging and using both of these ports, that's 3 items. Now I can't charge a third phone, obviously, through the USB, while this one I can, because there's 3 wire, you know, USBs. So, you know, keep that in mind. Now the weight. So the minimum you should get is, this particular one is 30,000 milliamp hours. This is 36,000. I don't notice a difference in weight between the two. I actually like this one better because it's actually slimmer. You know, it's a slimmer profile than the other ones. You know, the thickness is about the same. And then, you know, it's kind of similar to my old one. And actually this is even a little bit heavier than this one. So, and this one has twice the capacity. So, you know, those are the 5 tips that I have. Now, the other thing is that you probably do want to get one with a flashlight. It does come in handy, and this flashlight's going to last, you know, hours upon hours. So this is the brightest. This is a dimmer mode, and this is like a SOS. This is like the strobe, and you know, this is the regular, and this auto shuts off in 10 seconds. Now, all of these with the flashlights, and you'll usually see them with this white spot here, are all the same. So, however, as you notice that these that look generic are not all the same. So this one feels like a higher quality. It really does. While this one doesn't have as much attention to detail. And you could tell just by all of the features that this one has. You know, with the Grippy, with the 3 amp. And they were the same price. This one was $22. This particular one was $22. And I'll have a link in the description area of the video. So, so this also came with the 3 amp. You know, this one didn't. The Grippy thing. But, you know, it is a little bit lighter profile. But then this is just 6,000 milliamp more. So the 30,000 is just enough. But that's really it. Those are the 6 tips that I wanted to show you, and I hope this helps. And please support this channel by buying from the links below. And thank you so much for watching.